Good afternoon and welcome to Lunchtime Series with me, Kevin Britz, leading the charge with insights, information, and ultimately effective results. Joining me in today's marketing and leadership segment, marketing and communications expert and co-host Craig Page-Lee. How are you doing, Craig?
Kevin, I'm good. Yeah, great to be chatting again. From our discussion earlier, it seems that we're both still suffering from this major sinus challenge due to our lovely seasonal weather change. And I know mine is going to be with me till end of September when the big rains have come, and it's all out, but it's killing me. And my nose is damn sore from blowing it so much. And I hope I don't come across too nasally to our listeners, and hopefully not incomprehensible today. How are you doing?
I'm same thing, Craig. I've been on antibiotics since Monday. I feel slightly better today than I have, but still feel I can't wait for the rain, because the rain will definitely just change the seasons a little bit. But besides our sickness, jumping straight into today's show, can you give us a quick recap and reminder of last week's conversation?
Yeah, Kevin, sure. Last week we expanded on the topic of the week before, which was customer delight, and we focused on service excellence, which is one of the two primary drivers of delight. We reviewed the article I came across in layerize.com, which was titled 10 Best Service Excellence Examples You Can Learn From, and the article was published on the 16th of February this year. For our reminder points, I want to reference 3 learnings from this article, these being the first is that customer service provides customer support before, during, and after a purchase. And it's the first point of contact between a customer and a business, and its success can make or break a customer's experience. It also involves responding to customer inquiries, resolving issues, and assisting customers with various tasks. The second point is that both small and large businesses must focus on customer service to stay competitive and keep their customers loyal. And it goes beyond providing a good product. It means providing a proactive and customer-centric experience. By giving customers the attention they need, businesses can build trust and ensure they remain loyal for years to come. And interesting, because loyalty and loyal came through again in that point as well. And the third point here is just for product-oriented companies, customer service is essential. Customers need to feel secure and confident with their purchases, so providing a superior customer experience is crucial in driving sales and growing a business. Companies need to identify the right strategies and tactics that can help them create a great customer service experience. Kevin.
Guys, yes, and if you want to check it out, go and check it out on the Lunchtime Series, 10 Best Service Excellent Examples that we went through, and some really nice points that you can sort of focus on in your brand. But Craig, what are we up for discussion for today?
Kevin, I've been focusing on leadership topics quite a bit, and the articles have just come flowing through. And I came across an excerpt from a book while searching for leadership articles, from a book written by Brian Dodd. He's the author of the Amazon best-selling book Mighty: 7 Skills You Need to Move from Pandemic to Progress. And it's quite an interesting twist to this book. So apart from the 7 skills that he talks about, predominantly around which the book is structured, these being production, passion, resilience, teamwork, contentment, courage, and faith, the book references key findings from Kevin Burrell, who is one of Brian Dodd's favorite leaders and good friends. And Kevin Burrell is an area scout for the Chicago White Sox. And through his in-depth analysis and evaluation of major league prospects, Kevin was able to identify 10 things which can disqualify someone as a major league prospect. And then with that insight, Brian Dodd had a look at it, and he said, actually, those particular 10 things can also disqualify someone from leadership. So a really interesting aspect to see the connection between sport and leadership as well. So to this extent, we're going to review the 10 things which can disqualify you from the leadership checklist, but that are rarely talked about. And I've selected a few points for this week's conversation that really stood out for me as being important for leadership, Kevin. And firstly, I just want to list the 10 things as noted in the book. First is lack of passion. And remember this, as they noted, they come across in terms of the sport analysis criteria, and then you'll see how when I go through some of those, they relate to the leadership aspects. So first is lack of passion. You don't love or live the game or your organization's mission or vision. Second is lack of effort. This player did not run balls out. You have poor body language. Effort is something you control. Not coachable, really interesting point. You have an ego problem and are not open to instruction. Poor teammate, you are high maintenance and bring other people down. Struggle to make in-game adjustments, you are rigid. Immaturity, you are not mentally or emotionally ready for leadership. Selfish, you want all the attention. Unbalanced, you lack fundamentals needed to lead. Bad attitude, attitude is a choice. It also determines your altitude. You have a low leadership ceiling. And the last of the 10 things is undisciplined. And the pain of discipline is always less than the pain of regret. And I see you smiling greatly across the screen there as I went through each of these, Kevin.
Well, Craig, I think these are. I'm totally going to steal these. I'm going to share this on LinkedIn. I'm going to share it with everybody wherever I can, because we always speak about what are the leadership checklists look like, but we never speak about what disqualifies you as a great leader. And it's true. If you look at lack of passion, immediately nobody wants to follow someone who's averagely passionate. Like, how do you even? That's not even contextualized. You can't be passionate. You are either passionate or you're not passionate, right? I think about the not coachable. You have an ego problem and you're not open to instruction. Now, this coming from a sporting background to into leadership, very often as someone who deals with executives. I can't exactly say to people, listen, dude, you have an ego problem. Like, get your head out of and understand that for you to get to where you want to go, you need to be able to look at the things you don't want to look at. You need to look at the blind spots. Immaturity. I mean, I laugh because I was speaking to a senior leader, and I was just asking for clarity. And the more I start going, but I don't understand. And in my misunderstanding what was being said, he immediately went to, I feel totally attacked right now. And I looked at him and he stormed out the room. And I was like I was just trying to understand something, right? But immediately after that, unpacking that scenario, I realized that perhaps there isn't enough emotional maturity there, and perhaps he didn't have all the answers. But having that triggered response really showcased more about him than it did about me, right? And I think one that stands out is undisciplined, right? A leader that is undisciplined. I don't see you as a leader if you are undisciplined. And it's a very fine line between understanding discipline as doing things consistently and effectively and the right way, to disciplined with, do you know what that means for you, right? Discipline in itself is it's an intangible, but it's very specific to how disciplined you are about your life. For me, and other people see it as wayward and outward and crazy, but I'm very disciplined about not scheduling time to not think.
Yes.
Like if people saw my diary and like no thinking, or it's like scheduled to have downtime, and it's just 20 minutes or 30 minutes or whatever, that to me is a very disciplined approach to getting to where I'm going, and being the type of leader that I would like to be, right? But again, it's very structured and very disciplined for me to be able to. And the one thing that someone said to me, and now it depends on your background and your own set of beliefs, but then someone said to me one day, Kevin, the closest thing to discipline is godliness. And I was like, depends on like if you believe in God or not. But if you did, and you were sort of religious, you would realize, or you recognize the sort of the correlation to what that means, right? When you are disciplined, that you have a unspoken necessary driving force that keeps you going in the direction that you're going. Very much similar to what godliness is about.
Yes.
Right? For those people who believe in God. So I took, because I don't necessarily believe in God, but the point about discipline was so significant. Going, no one's going to do this for you. You either going to pull yourself towards yourself, get yourself some discipline, or just stop complaining. Like, just go complain somewhere else, right? So yeah, I think those are fantastic points. I think it's a beautiful way of looking at what the lack list of leadership. And
yes, the lack list. That's quite a nice term, that the lack list. Yes.
So can you take us through the points in detail, Craig? Because this is a fantastic conversation.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so I wanted to set some context by noting that I'm going to reference a different content source for each of the points that I'm actually going to talk to here, because I wanted to get a broader view and ascertain some more relevance of these points from different articles. So, yeah, whilst the book does go into a bit more detail around each of the points, I actually just wanted to look at some of the definitions and what other authors and publishers are saying about the points, and I think I selected about 3 or 4 of the first 5 of the 10 years. So let's kick in, and I want to start with point 2 here, which is lack of effort. This player did not run balls out. You have poor body language. Effort is controlling you. And for this point, I want to reference an article titled "Leadership Takes Effort: 5 Ways You Can Show Up for the People You Lead." The article was written by Heretta McMullen and was published to smartcompany.com.au on the 10th of March, as long ago as 2022, but has great relevance. And the article opens with the following paragraphs. Leading a team of professionals requires a significant amount of energy. To motivate, engage, and get the business results you're after, it requires you to show up. Showing up is at the core of maintaining a strong and leaderful connections. It's what turns the people you employ into your people. It's what inspires them. It's what builds loyalty. It's what makes you a truly impactful leader. It means creating a safe space for people to be their true selves. It means validating their feelings and experience, really listening to them, easing their loads, and ensuring they know they can count on you. It takes effort intentionally and consistency, and it requires a certain level of emotional intelligence, empathy, thoughtfulness, generosity, confidence, and vulnerability. And the article looks at sort of 5 ways in which you can show up for the people you lead, Kevin. The first point here is show your support. So, send that note of a job well done. Mention their name to your boss and your boss's boss. Comment on their LinkedIn article. Donate to their fundraising efforts. Nominate them for that award and celebrate the wins like they're your wins. Point 2 is remember the little things. Set up calendar notifications for their birthdays and work anniversaries. Note down the names of the people they speak about the most, their partners, their friends, their family. Ask how that event, chore, or activity went. Be invested in them. Do what you say you're going to do when you say you're going to do it. Create development opportunities. Help them build their networking circle. Share things with them you think they might appreciate. Point 4, be accessible and present. Set up regular one-on-one meetings and wherever possible. Don't move them. If you need to move or cancel, reschedule in the same conversation. Literally show up. Don't flake on them. Be on time. When you're there, be there, not stuck in your head. And the final of these points is really get to know them. Learn their communication preferences. Make notes of their passion. What are their personal and professional goals? Pay attention to physical and behavioral cues that may indicate something is going on in their world, Kevin.
Craig, I love it. And, with the Leader as Coach program, one of the things that we touch on is the 6 human needs. And what we know and what a lot of research suggests is with those 6 human needs, we need certainty. We need significance. We need variety. We need love and connection, growth, contribution. And when you see this list, be accessible and present, right? We just need someone who actually shows that they're interested, right? And shows that when you're showing up for me, that you're invested, that I am significant to you to whatever degree. A great leader points out when people does well, right? A great leader points and listens, listens and says, oh, I heard that's your partner's name. I remembered your partner's name. And how is your partner doing, right? Knows when people's birthdays are. all of these things, and there's ways to do that because you can calendarize it and it can notify you. It's not like you have to remember everything
Yes.
in detail. But it's a beautiful, significant sort of reference to, at the core of it, the fundamentals of human show when you're paying attention to those fundamentals, first and foremost, it just permeates into that environment.
And the demonstration of effort. There we go. So the next point that I want to cover here is point 3, which is not coachable. You have an ego problem and are not open to instruction. And for this point, I want to reference the article titled "Great Leaders Coach and Are Coachable, Therefore Their Coachability Increases Employee Engagement." The article was written by Nicholas Behani, Global People Analytics Leader, and was published to LinkedIn on the 3rd of July 2023. The article opens with the following paragraph. Organizations invest in coaching before training leaders to be coachable. Regardless of the coach's skill, effectiveness will decline if leaders are not ready to receive or implement feedback. While leaders are generally coachable early in their careers, receptiveness steadily declines with time and promotions to higher levels. There are three times higher levels of employee engagement, motivation, and discretionary effort for leaders who are high coaching ability than for leaders with low coaching ability. And highly coachable leaders are recognized as more effective leaders, according to a new interesting research published by Zenga Folkman using data from over 100,000 leaders on a group of executives at 500, at least at a Fortune 500 company in the food industry. So, substantive piece of research. And here, Kevin, the article notes that a coachable leader values self-improvement and operates consistently in learning zones by applying the coachable practices of these 4 acts or points. Point 1 is seek. Coachable leaders seek input from others on how they can improve. They welcome feedback and advice from those around them. Respond. Whether incoming feedback is a result of asking for it or not, coachable leaders respond in an open way. They don't interrupt. Instead, they probe to fully understand and show appreciation for the input. Point 3, reflect. Coachable leaders separate openness and curiosity while receiving feedback from later reflection and analysis of the meeting. They take time to consider if the feedback has merit and look for ways they can use it to grow. Point 4, act. When deciding to act on feedback, coachable leaders start with a mindset of experimentation and achievement in small steps. Once momentum builds from early actions, they apply sustainability strategies so the new behavior becomes a habit.
Great. And what's interesting about not being coachable and you have an ego problem and not open to instruction is what people don't recognize. And very often when a leader does this, and believe it or not, I was like doing some reflection when I started my business to where I am currently. And in January 2025, I would have been working in organizations doing what I do for 10 years already, officially. Wow. And this point about not being coachable is I couldn't agree more that it's an actual ego problem, right? When a coach does coaching, it's not in the coach's best interest to try and elicit anger or irritation from someone. If that's what you're experiencing, you as the leader need to go, why am I angry and why am I irritated right now? Right?
Yeah.
Because you're not. Your ego's in the way of actually someone pointing out something you don't like, right? And that means you're also at the mercy of your emotional regulation, which means you also don't emotionally regulate well, which might mean you don't have a high enough EQ to be able to be in the position you currently hold.
Yes.
Right? And that's all got to do with, are you coachable or not coachable? Right? Because if you're not, anyone that probes on the triggers that you don't like are going to flare up in a way that you don't anticipate. And it will be a very bad reaction that you have. So it's such a significant point. And when you just get past the ego part, you kind of go, oh, wow, no, it's actually not as bad as I thought. If I let myself learn about me.
Yes.
Because that's what's happening. Yeah.
Yes, brilliant. Point four is the next one that I looked at in a bit more detail. This being poor teammate, you are high maintenance and bring other people down. For this point, I want to reference the article titled "How Being a Team Player Helps You Become a Leader." The article was published on integritystaffing.com. Unfortunately, no date was provided on this article. And the article focuses on informing leaders how being a team player boosts your own career and leads directly to a better quality of life, both on and off. I seem to have lost you. Let me jump back into the article. The network has dropped, so yeah, quickly repeat there. Okay, so Kevin, the article focuses on informing leaders on how being a team player boosts your own career and leads directly to a better quality of life, both on and off the job. And the article opens with the following statement: "It's all about the soft skills you develop while working as part of a team." If you Google leadership skills and team player skills that employers often look for most, you'll find a lot of overlap. Employers who demonstrate those skills are most likely to receive raises and promotions. And here are some of those skills that you need to perform well, both as a team member and as a leader. And I think there's 3 or 4 I pulled here. Firstly, these are, as he referenced, how to improve. So firstly, skills. 1 is commitment. It's easy to tell when somebody isn't really all that interested in the team's success. It's destructive enough in a team player, but disastrous in a leader, which is why when people with that attitude don't get promoted to, that's why people with attitude don't get promoted to a higher level in the organization. And one of the cues on how to improve is show that you seriously believe in the team, the people, the goals, and the processes. And this means giving 100% or even more every single day. The second skill here is communication. Team players are able to listen to input from others and take action based on their input to improve both their own and the team's performance. As a leader, they'll use the same experience to provide clear, understandable goals, tasks, and other organizational expectations to the team. How to improve? Monitor your on-the-job communication, both verbal and written, to see how effectively they are in achieving your desired outcomes. Skill 3 is relationships. Both team players and leaders develop good collaborations among their team members. Working together toward a common goal starts at the rank and file level and continues all the way up to the C-suite. How to improve? Listen carefully to others' opinions and ideas before presenting your own. Learn the art of compromise rather than just going your own way. Help to motivate your fellow team members with praise, encouragement, and offers of assistance. And the final skill here is responsibility. Take accountability for your failures as well as successes. No passing the buck or throwing someone else under the bus. Companies expect their leaders to be honest and take responsibility for everything that happens under them. How to improve? When you screw up, say sorry, immediately followed by a suggestion for fixing the problem. You can also demonstrate responsibility by being on time with attendance and assignments. Very simple principles to apply.
Yeah, and what stands out about that to me, Craig, is just say sorry.
Yes.
Sometimes you just don't have the answer, or you just made a mistake. And because you're a human being, you're probably going to make mistakes. So just say sorry. Like it's not that difficult, right?
It's not that difficult, correct? Yes. And then the final point I want to cover on today's conversation, Kevin, is point 5, which is struggle to make in-game adjustments. You are rigid. And this really stood out for me. And for this point, I want to reference the article titled, "What do you do if your leadership style is inflexible?" The article was published on linkedin.com on the soft skills leadership page, and the summary is provided by AI contributors Michael Morehouse and Austin P. Buckemeyer. Let's look at the 5 points that we should consider in making ourselves more flexible as leaders. The first is why flexibility matters. So flexibility is the ability to adjust your behavior, your attitude, and approach according to the changing demands and circumstances. It helps leaders cope with uncertainty, complexity, and diversity. Flexible leaders are more open-minded, they're more creative and collaborative. They can adapt to different personalities, different cultures, and different expectations. They can also respond to feedback, learn from their mistakes, and trust as a leader. Point two is how to assess your flexibility. So before you can improve on your flexibility, Kevin, you actually need to know how flexible you are. And one way to do this is to ask for honest feedback from your colleagues, your peers, and subordinates. You can also use self-assessment tools to identify your dominant leadership style and how it varies depending on the different situations you face on a daily basis. Another method is to reflect on your past experience and challenges. How did you handle them? Did you stick to your usual way of doing things, or did you try something different? How did those choices affect the outcomes of the action and relationships? The third point here is how to overcome resistance. If you find yourself resisting change, diversity, or feedback, you need to understand why. What are the beliefs, the values, or the fears that actually make you cling to your comfort zones, Kevin? How do they limit your growth and potential as a leader? To overcome resistance, you really need to challenge your assumptions. You need to get rid of the biases and change those habits. You need to recognize the benefits of being more flexible and the cost of being inflexible, both to you as an individual personally, and then obviously cost to the business, which in turn could be the bottom line as well. You also need to cultivate a growth mindset, which means seeing challenges as opportunities to learn and improve rather than threats to your identity or status. Point four is how to develop flexibility. Flexibility is not a trait you are born with, interestingly. It's a skill that you can hone with practice and intention. To become a more flexible leader, seek diverse perspectives and experiences, experiment with different approaches and methods, and embrace uncertainty and ambiguity. Expose yourself to different people, different cultures, and ideas. Listen to their opinions and insights, and try to understand their perspectives and needs. Learn from the experiences and best practices and incorporate them into your own ways. Try new ways of solving problems, new ways of communicating, and most definitely new ways of collaborating. And the fifth point noted here is how to balance flexibility and consistency. So being flexible doesn't mean inconsistent or indecisive. It means adjusting your leadership style to the situation, to the team, and the goals while still maintaining your core values and vision. To balance flexibility and consistency, you need to communicate clearly and frequently, Kevin. Explain the reasons and benefits of your changes and adaptations and how they actually align with your overall purpose and direction. Involve your team in the process. And as mentioned in one of the earlier points, is just solicit input and feedback to help you move forward. Set clear and realistic expectations and boundaries from the outset. Define the scope and objectives of your flexibility, as well as the criteria for measuring success or failure. You need to clarify the roles and responsibilities across the team, as well as the criteria for measuring, at least as well as the limits and guidelines of autonomy and creativity. And I think this is a point you and I have picked up on in the past quite a bit. The autonomy of great leadership and the role that creativity has in it. Then provide support and recognition by acknowledging efforts and contributions, supplying resources, giving guidance, offering feedback, celebrating achievements, learning from mistakes, and sharing best practices. Signal is up and down.
Cool, no problem. So, Craig, I mean, my takeaways from today's conversation, and it stands out to me above all, is the first one that stands. I was just making notes on is passion.
Yes.
Lacking the passion in leadership. One of the things that I always recognize is if you look at great leaders, right? Great leaders often model how great leadership looks like. And very often that comes with the passion and the knowledge of what great leadership looks like, right?
Yes.
It's almost like there's a no-brainer from, if you want to find good leadership in the world, find someone who's passionate about making those differences, right?
Yes.
Other one is the coachability and ego. I can't emphasize that, especially in a leadership capacity. If you're struggling with taking on feedback and looking at your own triggers, and you're not able to self-regulate and be able to be willing to look at that, then you have a problem. You really do have an ego problem, and your ego is getting in the way of your success,
Yes.
right? And the last one, just the attitude. I look at the I forget their names now. It's a leadership company that speaks about, it's the RBG Institute of Leadership. That's it.
Yes. Yes.
They speak about mindset, right? And the importance of how mindset can preface the success of anything that you partake in, and any change or any project that you take on, 4 times more likely to succeed if you have the right type of attitude and mindset, right? So it kind of goes as like, some of the and I love it, the unchecklists. So so it's definitely something to share. So so we're going to be covering the next 5 from for next week.
Yes, Kevin. So I want to cover the remaining 5 points next week. Just again, looking at a range of different articles to support these points, which I actually quite appreciated being able to do today. Just to recap, the 6th point is immaturity. You're not mentally or emotionally ready for leadership. The 7th point is selfish. You want all the attention. The 8th point is unbalanced. You lack the fundamentals needed to lead. The 9th point is bad attitude. Attitude is a choice. It also determines your altitude. You have a low leadership ceiling. And the 10th is undisciplined. It's the pain of discipline is always less than the pain of regret. And I really like that statement.
I love it. Absolutely. And the quote of today that we're going to leave you around what we've been talking about is: effort, attitude, and coachability define your leadership potential more than talent ever will.
That's a power one. Yeah, good reference.
Fantastic. Guys, so if you want to catch us live, well, it's every Thursday that we go on the podcast. It's every Wednesday and Thursday. But for myself and Craig, please like and share and tune in to the Lunchtime series every time, and follow us for more, because we like sharing insights and information. Craig, thank you so much. I will see you next week.
Yeah, looking forward to that, Kevin. Thanks a lot.
Cheers for now.
Bye. You too.